In Titus 2, God tells us, quote, "Then the older women can train the younger women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home, to be kind, and to be subject to their husbands, so that no one will malign the word of God." Unquote. These two verses are talking about how the older women are to train the younger women to live a fulfilling and abundant life. The purpose is not for God to be restraining us from fun. The purpose is life. Jesus said, "I have come that they may have life and have it in abundance." To have life to its fullest, Jesus sets us free. It is to help us live a life we've always been meant to live, and so to love our husbands. This passage might be one of the favorite things I've studied. The Greek word for loving their husband is philandros. Philandros is one word specifically for loving her husband. It is not just loving, and it is not just husband. It is the three words loving her husband. It means the special affection of a woman for her lifetime mate, her husband.
Jesus, for my family, I speak the holy name, Jesus.
A wife must embrace her husband as her calling. Your husband is not just someone in your life that you have to love. Philandros is specifically saying you are meant to have a special affection for your husband and that you are meant to embrace him as a calling. Oh, this threw me so hard because I was like, wow, it literally says he is your calling and you're meant to embrace him as your calling. This means stewarding the gift that God has given you, your husband being that gift, a calling set before you. That is what loving your husband means, to have a special affection for him and to treat him as your calling here on this earth. Now, obviously, nothing is above the calling of God, but this was given to you by God. Your husband was given to you by God, so it still falls in line with God's will of treating him as part of your calling. This isn't being forced like, oh, I have to love him because I have to. He is your calling, and I'm going to tell you in a second why this is so crazy, but you are meant to suit him in your life the way you would suit any other gift from God. It is very special, this word for loving your husband. It's rich in definition. However, the word for loving your children, in contrast, is very short and sweet. It means having a fondness and a maternal love for your children, whereas the husband one is so much more. I'm sure you've heard this before, but if you haven't, this is a priority. According to the Bible, your top priority is God. Your second priority is your husband. The third priority is your children. When we swap those and put our own children before our own husband, things get wonky. This is another example, and it's making such a strong point that you are not to neglect loving your husband. He's your partner, whom God has given you. He's your person here on this earth. God said in the Garden of Eden, it is not good for a man to be alone, and God gave your husband you. That is so incredible if you think about it. Your children are going to grow up. They're going to leave the house. They're going to have their own husbands and wives. They're going to have their own children. You have your mate for the rest of this life as long as you both shall live. So learning how this term for love, philandros, revealed the deep nature of this relationship really rocked me. Because as much as I basically knew these things, it was like, okay, I really need to be pouring into my marriage way more than I am.
Shout Jesus from the mountains, and Jesus in the streets, Jesus in the darkness.